Hello everyone, I'm Dustin Drive with Two Birds Stoned, and welcome to This Week in Comics. Hello everyone, and welcome to This Week in Comics for May 24th, 2023. I'm your unofficial official guide to all things comics, Dustin Drive for the Two Birds Stoned. Let's get started with the number ones this week. Fury number 1 by Al Ewing, Scott Eaton, Cam Smith, Tom Riley, Adam Kubert, Ramon Rosanas, and Jordi Belair. Why are there so many? Because there's like 3 stories in here. 6 out of 10. Originally, I thought this was going to be the start of a James Bond style adventure. However, this is just a primer for where the various Nick Furies are going to be throughout other series. What was interesting, I'm not going to jump into any of these other series. I would say pass, but does not set up his own comic book. Venomverse number 2. Now there are 3 stories in this, so I will review each story separately. The first story, The Sinister Secret of Black Cat's new costume. This I would give a 5.5 out of 10. I do think it sets up something for the larger Extreme Venomverse story. However, a little too long, a little not funny enough, and a little too boring. However, I do suggest reading it because I do believe it'll be the one that impacts the Venomverse most. Story number 2 in Extreme Venomverse is The Prisoner. Dum Dugan actually tempts the symbiote into bonding with Eddie Brock. However, it isn't Eddie Brock. It's an LMD, a life model decoy. Frees all of the prisoners inside the prison he's being held, including one Cletus Cassidy. Venom and Carnage do battle. A 7.5 out of 10. It was written by David Repose, Ken Lashley, CC De La Cruz. Interesting. It's got great fight sequences, a Carnage appearance, and overall, I just found it really entertaining. Last story is Mask of the Red Death. 7 out of 10. It was written by Clay McLeod Chapman, Paul Davidson, and Alex Guimaraes. Simple, it's enjoyable. 1602, a court jester that turns into Venom, ends up battling Red Death. Fun fight sequences, and never overstays its welcome. Another Carnage versus Venom battle. This one ends definitively. 7 out of 10. City Boy by Greg Pak, Minku Jung, and Sunny Go. 7.5 out of 10. Part of the We Are Legends initiative by DC. Brand new hero, mad scientist trying to connect to Metropolis as a city. An explosion happens. A boy who shouldn't be there witnesses the explosion and is touched by the city and is therefore granted power. Flash forward 10 years, a local gang leader tries to force City Boy, aka Cameron, into doing something that he doesn't want to do. Cameron loses it and reveals himself. We see that Darkseid is the one who's looking for him. Extremely interesting comic, well plotted. 7.5 out of 10. It's a definite pull this week. I've pulled all of the We Are Legends issues. DC's done a great job here. Those are the only number ones we have this week. So I'm going to run through the rest of our issues that I picked up this week, and then we'll touch on 2 of the series. Star Wars, Darth Vader, Black, White, and Red number 2. Check this issue out if you're into anthologies. These ones are a little bit different with the Black, White, and Red. That's why I didn't review it this week. But it's only in the second issue. First issue definitely still on the stands. Check it out. Justice Society of America number 4. The new Justice Society and the Stargirl comic are going to connect. New Justice Society number 4. It involved Batman and Catwoman's daughter, Helena Wayne. Check it out. I love this series. Vanish number 7 by Donny Cates. A mix of a few different series in my opinion. Donny Cates is a great writer. The art in this is phenomenal. The story is a little familiar, but I would definitely encourage checking it out. Hellcat number 3. 3 of 5. This series has been awesome so far. I will review it after all 5 issues are out. Go pick up the first 2. Third one out this week. Check it out. This is Hallows Eve number 3. I believe it's going to go 5, maybe 6 issues. I could be wrong on that. I will review it at the end of the miniseries. Number 3 is out this week. Number 1 and 2 are on the stands. Check it out. Green Arrow number 2. This is also the number 2 out of, I believe, 5 or 6 issues. They are kind of limiting some of these. I love this series so far. Never read a Green Arrow comic before. Thought number 1 was amazing. Check out number 2. Pick it up on stands right now. 007 for King and Country number 2. This is obviously the second one, but this is the rare one where I will tell you, you should read the volume before this. Pick up number 1 on the stands. Pick Doom Patrol number 3. I believe this is only going to gonna go 5 issues, maybe 6. TV show is awesome. The comic book's awesome. It's really funny. It's really fun. You should pick up the first 2 issues, and I will review this at the end of the miniseries. Dead Boy Detectives number 6. I'm gonna tell you to pick up the first 5 because Dead Boy Detectives by Pornsak Pichochet, probably mispronounced that, Jeff Stokely, and Miguel Muerto. Dead Boy Detective starts with Charles and Edwin in LA of all places. A Goonie-style story, a detective story, a Ghostbuster-style story where ghosts are busting ghosts. They meet some Thai ghosts. Something weird is going on. Different ghosts from different cultures should not be allowed to pop in wherever they are. That's exactly what's happening. The Thai ghosts have a conduit named Dom who is trying to help them return to where they come from. Someone has stolen an amulet, making it possible for Thai ghosts to appear in LA. Dom gets killed. They're unsure who is the summoner, who's trying to summon all of these Thai ghosts back. Not only who is summoning them back, but why? As they scour LA, Edwin and Charles are dealing with crisis of their own. Charles is missing their former third, his paramour. Edwin is experiencing possibly an adventure of the heart for the first time while realizing maybe it's even closer than he thought. They are also helping their friends Jai, Tanya, and Melvin, the Thai ghost. Jai gets killed. Thessaly is trying to screw over the summoner. And then when it comes down to the final showdown, it's the boys dealing with Thessaly while Tanya and Melvin fight for their lives. The summoner was just a father who was trying to bring his daughter back. She broke her neck trying to sneak out to meet a boy that he didn't want her to meet. The summoner is just a means to an end. Thessaly promises the boys she will change the rules of ghosts. Thessaly changes the rules of ghosts and allows for the Thai ghost to stay as long as Charles and Edwin free her from the circle she's contained in. And free her, they do. She did change the rules of ghosts. 8 out of 10. Thessaly will continue in the Nightmare Country Glass House. I'm hoping that this series does return in some form or another. The art in this is apropos. It's creepy when it needs to be. It's cartoony when it needs to be. And I did enjoy this series. Boy Detectives number 1 through 6. The trade will be coming out in a few months. Alex Ekman Lawn, every cover I have. 8 out of 10. Thoroughly enjoyable. Pick up the trade paperback. Pick up 1 through 6. They're in your local comic shop, but I definitely encourage you checking it out. Poison Ivy number 1 by G. Willow Wilson, Marcio Takara, and Arif Prianto. First 12 issues and 8 out of 10. This week, the hardcover for issues 1 through 6 should be hitting your local comic shops as well as bookstores everywhere. Poison Ivy starts off with Ivy no longer Queen Ivy. Harley chose saving her girlfriend's life. Ivy is not happy. She feels a disconnect from the Green. She is planning a mass extinction for the world because Ivy is angry. In her journey across the United States, Ivy does meet some good people. Kind of like a plant version of Dexter through the first part of this series. Something is chasing Ivy across the nation, trying to contain the Lamia spores. Old Woodrow, yes, the Green Man. The guy who experimented on Ivy, gave her her powers, and then decided to perfect those powers. Traveling through the Green, trying to find Ivy, trying to stop the Lamia, and trying to destroy her. Woodrow is not a good mentor. The two of them battle. Upon eventually defeating Woodrow, she eats him. She gets her touch back to the Green. After Ivy defeats Woodrow, she applies at a new Green company to take on their CEO, who is also a former disciple of Woodrow and has used his powers for the nefarious. Ivy in her battle, and Ivy is actually incapacitated by her own Lamia because of the other assistant, aka the CEO of the company. The CEO's assistant, Janet, who Ivy actually saved way back when, ends up saving Ivy again. Janet is dying and she needs help. So Ivy does what a hero would do and decides to help Janet. Gets her the surgery she needs and decides she's gonna stay with her until she's better. Harley shows back up, shows her love to Ivy. Honestly, they have a ton of sex, and Janet gets a little bit jealous because Janet is the roommate. Harley does tell Ivy, come home, come back to Gotham. Ivy tells Harley, you know what, Harles? I'm not quite ready to be a member of the Bat family the way you are. Janet and Ivy eventually decide that they do need to go back to Gotham. Road trip where Ivy and her end up at a Goop style convention. Everyone there has been infected or been using Lamia spores. During that time, Ivy and Janet kind of hook up because the Lamia induced euphoria. It is only compounded because Ivy and her kind of continue to hook up. Now, Gwen, the leader of the Lamia style group, actually does kind of defeat Ivy. Ivy discovers that the Lamia allows her to control people. Anybody who's been in contact with them, she can take over them like a hive mind. The Lamia-induced Gwen then battles Ivy, and when they do battle, Ivy loses. Even though she loses, Ivy does develop an antidote. Realizes that the Lamia evolved because of its contact with her. She needs to get that antidote out everywhere before people start dying. Ivy and Janet at the end of this make their way back to Gotham. They end up on Harley's doorstep where they reunite joyously, and Ivy decides, I'll tell Harley about the little tryst with Janet another time. And that's where we leave the 12th issue. That's the review of all 12 issues. I'd give it an 8 out of 10. Wednesday, aka the 24th hardcover edition of the first 6 issues in your local comic shops, as well as Amazon and all your other local bookstores. We'll go ahead and look forward to what we're gonna be looking at next week. Alrighty guys, we're gonna look ahead to next week for May 31st. Now, Edge of Spider-Verse number 2, I will review every story within that. Doc Aphra number 32, I might review that when Doc Aphra completely ends. It's going to be ending here probably around issue 40. And Sana Starros number 4, I'll review that after the 5th issue comes out. Power Girl Special number 1, I will review that next week for sure. Local Man number 4, I'll review that once the 6 issue mark hits. We have Torrent number 4 and World Tree number 2. World Tree number 1 and 2 next week since it's a light week. We don't have any series to review, so it'll be a shorter week. We've got 2 for Pass or Pull, and we've got the other 6 issues. This Week in Comics with me, your unofficial official guide to all things comic books, Dustin Dry at 2birdsstone815. Follow us on the TikTok. Follow us on the YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe, review. Do whatever you need to do. Get us out there. Remember, we're at 2birdsstone815. This has been This Week in Comics. Hit the music.